But now we're going to have on the stage Peter Vesterbacka. He's one of those guys who was a really long time the face of Rovio, but now he's going to tell his crazy idea to drill a really long tunnel between Tallinn and Helsinki. Give him a big applause,
Hey,
man.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll start by saying that there's nothing crazy about the idea, and it's not like a new idea, and it's not even my idea. So, yeah, so basically last year here at Latitude, had a fantastic event, as always, just like this year. And we're having dinner with Valdar and some of the people. And yeah, then we, of course, started talking about the fact that we're already doing so much between Finland and Estonia, you know, like people to people, startup to startup, so there's like a lot of collaboration. And yeah, and of course we started talking about the pain of, you know, like spending 2 hours, like I'll do, you know, in a bit, going back to Helsinki with the ferry. So we, of course, started talking about the tunnel. And I'm always, you know, like not so much into just like talking, but then doing things. So then we just decided that, okay, let's make the tunnel happen. And so we decided like right there and then, like a year ago, that okay, let's make this tunnel real. And then I went to the like neighboring table at this dinner, and your foreign minister at the time was there. So then I told her that actually I just wanted to let you know that we decided to build the tunnel. And then she of course asked that, okay, like yeah, so who decided? So yeah, me and a few of my friends like in the table over there. And then, of course, she was laughing and said, yeah, right, okay, whatever. So that was a year ago. At the time, I didn't know anything really about building tunnels. And, okay, I can't claim to be like an expert on building tunnels yet. But let's put it this way, that I know a lot more about building tunnels than I did a year ago. And then after Latitude, I went to this building or this construction industry hackathon in Helsinki, and then I was asked to do like an inspirational like talk about stuff. And then I actually did a talk about like the finest Bay Area and the fact that we're going to build a tunnel. And talk them through that how we're going to build the tunnel, and it's going to take 5 years. So basically we'll start like next year or the year after. It takes 5 years. So in 23, 24. It'll take 20 minutes to go from Tallinn to the airport in Helsinki. Actually, it's probably going to be like airport to airport, 20 minutes. And we'll do that in 5 years. Of course, at the time, I didn't know if it's even possible to do it in 5 years. But at the same time, there was this announcement that they had just completed the Gotthard tunnel in Switzerland, which is the longest railroad tunnel like anywhere. And it took them bit under 20 years. So I figured that, okay, you know, with the advancement of technology and all that, I'm sure we can do it in 5 years. So let's like make that, you know, the thing. And yeah, so I gave this talk, and it was just like a small hackathon, but you know how it is nowadays, that all of these things are like streamed, as I guess this is as well, so I probably need to be careful with what I say. But anyway, so then the following day, Helsingin Sanomat, so that's the biggest newspaper in Finland, they had, you know, watched my presentation online and said that, okay, that they watched my presentation and you talked about building this tunnel. It must be like some kind of joke that you're not serious, are you? I said, of course, I'm very serious. We're going to make the tunnel. It's going to take 5 years and it's like done. And yeah, then I started looking into this, and actually at this building or this construction industry hackathon, there was a guy from the geological institute, or I guess that would be like the English translation, and he said that he's been studying this for 20 years, and they've been like surveying the, you know, the bottom of the sea and like all of that. He said that is technically it's like trivial. It's all like bedrock from Helsinki to Tallinn, and then when you get to Tallinn, it's a bit of sand and clay, but it's like trivial. It's very easy to do this actually. And then started thinking about, okay, so the funding, you know, and all of this. We looked at the Gotthard tunnel that cost like a lot of money, and then started looking at what it would cost then to do the tunnel between Tallinn and Helsinki. So there were some preliminary studies where they made this estimate of 9 to 11 billion, and knowing how the construction industry works, when we rounded it up to 15 billion. So we just decided that's the budget that we have for this project. Okay, 15 billion. Of course, I never raised 15 billion before, but I raised 15 million and 42 million and stuff like that. So I figured that millions, billions, how difficult can it be? And turns out that it's actually very similar. So it's just the the measurement unit is different, but then the pitching process is very similar. So we built a business case, work with the PricewaterhouseCoopers, the PwC guys, because that adds credibility. They actually supposedly know how to do these things. So we built a case that 15 billion investment. Then with the growth of traffic, I mean right now it's 10 million people that go between Helsinki and Tallinn every year. Helsinki is actually the busiest passenger harbor in Europe. Because I always get this that, hey Peter, have you looked at the channel thing between London and Paris, two big cities? It's not very profitable. Yes, of course I looked at that, and actually London and Paris are not exactly like neighboring cities. It takes 3 hours or something like that to take the train from London to Paris. So that's like going from Helsinki to Rovaniemi or something like that. So it's not like twin cities like Helsinki and Tallinn. And of course, French people, English people, very different. So it's not like Finns and Estonian that are very similar. So I think that there are many reasons then why the channel thing doesn't work and the Helsinki-Tallinn thing actually will work and will be amazing. So 10 million people currently go between Helsinki and Tallinn, or let's say 10 million trips every year. And I just bought my ferry ticket and it costs 74 euros, so it's not even cheap. I guess that it's different price if you buy last minute. But anyway, so then we built the business case on increasing that traffic now to 20 million, because in the future you'll get from Tallinn to the Helsinki airport in 20 minutes. So it's a pretty good deal. And then we thought, 50 euros on average ticket price, it's 1 billion a year. So easy math. And then you put the cargo, the freight traffic on top, and that then working with the PwC guys, 37 years, and we paid for the tunnel. So, it's pretty good return for a 15 billion project. And these infrastructure projects are not actually for 37 years, it's actually forever. So that's why investors like these things, because it's steady return. And in a world of zero interest rates, it's pretty good if you can put 15 billion, into a project and you get steady return. So then we started looking at, so who could have 15 billion to invest in a project like this? And I've been going to China for the last 5 years, twice a month. So, I know my way around there, and I knew that there's actually the Ilu, so that's the One Belt, One Road project, 5 trillion. So again, even bigger unit than the billion thing. So I figured that, they're investing 5 trillion into this One Belt, One Road. They just invested 50 billion into Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is a nice place, but it's not like Finland or Estonia, where we have zero corruption. I mean, if you put 50 billion into Kazakhstan, and I'm sorry about the Kazakhstan people here in the room, but who knows, and Borat might walk away with the money, or his cousin. It's not zero corruption. So figure that if they put 50 billion into Kazakhstan, I mean, putting 15 billion into a tunnel between Helsinki and Tallinn, it's pretty safe. I mean, zero corruption, bedrock, no earthquakes, no nothing, pretty safe. Good investment, low risk. So started then discussing this with the Chinese investors. And last summer, Wuotsai, Beijing, Beijing, Dashuesi, Lebaga, Chinchi, the Hanyui, Danshur, Woda, Hanyui, Haibu, 1 May. So last summer I went for some Chinese studies at Beijing Normal University, 8 weeks. and that's why my Chinese is not yet perfect. How many here actually speak Chinese? Okay, so then you hopefully understood that that was what I said in Chinese, that I studied 8 weeks and that's why it's not perfect. But I figured that if I'm asking Chinese investors to invest 15 billion into a tunnel between Helsinki and Tallinn, it's polite to be able to ask for that money in their own language. So last summer I learned how to pitch in Chinese, so I can do that now. So when people asked me if, I'm serious about building this tunnel, yeah, I'm pretty damn serious. I mean, I spent 8 weeks learning the language, just to get the money for the tunnel. So just like a quick update, and see the 00 thing flashing here. I don't know, how much time do I have? It's okay, cool. Anyway, right now we're getting very close to kind of like securing the funding. So basically 15 billion for building. The plan is that if we get all the permissions like from the government and like all of that, we'll start building next year. And also I spent a couple of days, 3 weeks ago, visiting the tunnel projects in China. So for example, they're currently building the tunnel between Hong Kong and Macau. It will open in December. Very cool project, cool videos. They're building like artificial islands and stuff like that. So, and then we looked at some of the other tunnel projects that they've done. So they've done actually several projects of this scale. So like 15 billion tunnel between Helsinki and Tallinn, no big deal. So it's like China scale. And then also I said, when I started this, that it's going to take 5 years. Actually, we can do the physical tunnel construction even faster. So the plan is to start the construction at like the first like artificial island. So we're building an island 15 kilometers outside of Helsinki. That's where it's like pretty shallow. It's only 10-20 meters like depth. So that's where we start the drilling. We will drill in both directions, so towards Helsinki and towards Tallinn. We're also doing a second artificial island that's a bit outside of the coast of Estonia, and we start drilling in both directions. And then we start drilling at the airport in Helsinki and at the airport in Tallinn. So we have 6 directions ongoing. We're creating 2 tunnels, 2 pipes, each 17 meters in diameter. And because we're drilling in 6 directions at the same time, we're actually going to complete the drilling in much less than 5 years. So they now have the best TBMs, so the best tunnel boring machines in China. So they do like hundreds of kilometers of tunnels like every year. So it's kind of like no big deal. And so we'll have 12 of these machines. They're like 30 million a pop, so, not much. And then we start drilling. We complete the drilling in a few years and then put the stations in place. So we will have 4 stations. Tallinn station, Island station, the Otaniemi, Keilaniemi station on the Finnish side, and the airport station. So the tunnel, of course, is kind of like interesting, and it's a little bit like, putting man on the moon. So it is kind of like there to create inspiration and show people that we can do like pretty much anything here in this, finest Bay Area. Finland, Estonia, Helsinki and Tallinn working together. But the really interesting thing is that for every euro you invest below ground, there will be 10 euros above. So 15 billion, 150 billion. So then it becomes interesting. So the island that we're building and where we start is 1 square kilometer. We're actually now done the first renders of the city, so it will be 1 square kilometer, 50,000 people on the island. It will be carbon negative, so not carbon neutral, but actually like all sustainable, and we will actually generate more than we use, so that's the carbon negative thing. We're also proposing that it will be a regulatory sandbox for Finland and Estonia, so we can take the e-residency to the next level. And we will also enable Finland and Estonia to test new ways to run things like basic income, the whole social security renewal that we need to do with like AI and machine learning doing bad things to the jobs. So we're doing that, and then also on the Tallinn side, new neighborhood, 50,000 people close to the airport. Same thing in the Otaniemi-Keilaniemi area. So we're now doing the architecture design for that, like new neighborhood. Same thing at the airport in Helsinki. So there will be 200,000 new people in the area, and yeah, that's basically like where we're at with the project right now. And of course, we're looking for everybody to help contribute and kind of like support the project. But for a year's worth, I mean, we're off to a good start, but there's still like a lot of work remaining. But I just wanted to share this with you because we need to be prepared for this like massive economic growth that is about to hit. And we're already like printing these signs that say refugees welcome. And it's actually the Brexit refugees that will all have to kind of like leave London. So we're going to welcome them here. So all the Brexit refugees are more than welcome. And the reason they'll come here, I mean, people are speculating that they'll go to Dublin or Frankfurt or someplace like that. Of course, they're coming here because of the superior geographic location. We're at the heart of Eurasia. You get on a train in Tallinn, you end up 20 minutes later at the airport in Helsinki, 7 hours later, Beijing, 6 hours later, Delhi, 8 hours later, Tokyo. So, like we have Europe on one side, Asia on the other side. Our home market here in, the finest Bay Area, Helsinki and Tallinn, it's all of Eurasia. 5 billion people in our home market, 70% of the world's population right next door. So, of course, everybody will come here. Yeah. So this is where we're at right now, and it's like, yeah, it's a good start, but there's still a lot of work. But it's looking like pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you. Such a great speech.
Thanks.
Do you remember this? Between the two world wars, I think both Finns and Estonians.
I was pretty young then, so like,
yes,
but yeah. Anyway.
Yes, but I've heard that both Finnish and Estonians had the idea that our border should be somewhere close to Beijing, and we should be bigger. And this is how we're going to be big.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was really good.
Thank you.
Such an inspirational speech. Awesome.